Good afternoon, my friends. I hope you're doing well. My name's Justin. I'm a session guitarist here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I got a song here that I'm working on, and I thought it was a good one to describe what I think it means to come up with parts, you know. There's a blank stare a lot of people get when you tell them, come up with a cool part. Like, they have no idea where to start. So, I've got this tone dialed in. This is a low-speed Leslie. It's like got kind of a chorus vibe, but you can hear the throb, like the rotating horn of the Leslie, right? So anyway, there's this song's got kind of a dreamy vibe. It's called These People. It's about people these days not being polite like they used to be. You know, everybody's at each other's throats. If I disagree with you about something, it's because you have a severe moral failing. That's how we approach people, and I laugh about it, but it leads to horrific outcomes in our society. You know, that are extremely. They should all give us pause and should all be cause for mourning, regardless of what direction we lean, you know, on whatever issue is happening. So let's dig into the song. This is what I have. Oh, by the way, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, like coming up with parts on the spot that make sense and that people are like, oh yes, thank you. That's the entire point of my course, which is called the SIDEMAN'S HANDBOok. The entire thing is based on the idea that you can make yourself more marketable as a player. Whether you're trying to get paid to play music, or you're trying to just get a gig and jam with some friends on the weekend or whatever, or you want to find some people to play with, like what's going to equip you to make people want to have you in their band, or to want to play music, or to want to hire you? Well, it's playing cool stuff that's compelling, right? So how do you do that? That's the idea. It's the entire idea behind that course. And I think it's super cool. I think it came out really well. So there's a link in the description. You should check it out. It's also wildly cheap. Like wildly cheap. Like, why did we make it so cheap? Okay, here we go. I'm going to start with sort of a dreamy percussive thing. the vocal tuck way back. Okay, so I like that. I like the percussive movement. There's like almost nothing going on. I got the vocal tucked way back like I always do, you know. There's almost nothing going on but this acoustic part that has any movement to it before the first chorus. And then the first chorus is real empty. You notice, I know it's hard to tell what section of the song I'm in because you're not really hearing the lyric, but it isn't until chorus 2 that the band really kicks in. That's where my like my two like diamond guitars. There's some reiki stuff that comes in there, you know. I've got kind of a long reverb for just rakes, but that percussive Leslie thing. It's one of those parts that everything's so muted that it's more about the motion than the notes, you know, and the notes are just very simple. It's like over the one chord, right? This whole song is 2 bars of 1, which, you know, I was playing some sort of drony type things. I don't normally capo just to capo, but if I'm playing something, if I want some of these open strings in the key, then I'm going to capo 1 because we're in the key of F, right? So I'm kind of playing like I'm in E. But check this out. I don't know how well you could hear this, but this acoustic part, there's an acoustic part and there's another electric part that's kind of just swirling here. So here's all 3 of those together. This is from the very top. I was kind of hearing that part more verbed out than it is, you know. With everything in there and it tucked back, I think it'll make a little more sense. It kind of took me a little bit to settle into it. Let's recut that. Let's recut like the, I don't know, intro, first verse. How about it? How about we do that? Heard an open, you don't want that in the middle of it. Actually, I like what I had there before, where it was kind of diamond-ish on the 2 minor. So maybe I'll use I didn't need to redo that far, but yeah, let's see. How's this sound? How does this sound? So, you know, then my chorus part became, it's all over the one, right? And then, that's cool. Like I'm playing a 6 minor triad over the 2, you know? Everybody else is kind of covering what the 2 is, so I'm just adding some really, what I think is interesting color. That's a hard reach for me. So I guess the point about playing parts is that, you know, you're not, like I'm not just going to strum. And I'm not going to play something that's, you know, just licks with effects. Like there's nothing repeatable there, you know? So maybe that's one of the first ingredients, you know? It's not just pure intuition, you know? It is something that I think that you get a lot better at by doing. It's its own set of 10,000 hours, you know? Like there's so many amazing guitar players who just don't come up with stuff that's hooky. It's, the playing is more about the athleticism of it, you know? And that's great. I'm not knocking those guys. Most of those guys can play circles around me, right? But that's not the place I wanted to go with my guitar playing. So there's a repetitive element, there's a simple element, there's an element of ease and like you're not shoehorning something in, but you're fitting into a vibe that's already there, you're supporting it, you know? It's like walking into a library, you're not screaming for attention, you're quiet like the library is. Or walking into a loud football game, you're going to be a little boisterous and you're matching the emotion of the environment, okay? So the environment's the song, the emotion is what's everything else doing? How does it sound? This song's very reminiscent, very nostalgic. The lyric is about like wishing for days gone by when people weren't crazy. So, you know. So yeah, I just got this this interesting tone, you know, and I'm playing notes that are, I'm not like sticking so close to chord tones that it just sounds really blocky. That's a thing. We talk about this in this course as well, about how hooks can be repeated even though the chords are changing underneath, and it gives a continuity, right? So, I mean, that whole intro thing. So why didn't I play it like that? Why didn't I play it with the bass notes? Well, because there's a bunch of other stuff happening that's already defining the harmony. So I didn't need to, you know? If I were to perform, if this were my song and I were like a guitar player like John Mayer or whatever, and gonna do a solo tour, if it was just me, yeah, I'd play it like that. I would totally. I mean, try to find, maybe it's in a different position so I can catch a low 2 instead of playing the 2 up here. And then I'd get off of it to sing, right? Because then the vocal point is the melody. The focal point is the vocal. You know, the vocal is the melody, which becomes the focal point. So, you know, there's some other sounds in there. You probably heard this interesting warble. Same reverb. The setting is. I think it's called the Destroyer machine on the Mobius. Same thing with it off. And then that's kind of a long plate reverb that I've got going. Cool. So, well, I think I'm good on this track. That's like my 5th electric part. You know, again, I had a question come in, and this guy said, well, how many guitar parts do you know how to lay? I think that's subjective to the extent that some people really like just really full sounding mixes. I'm a quality over quantity guy, which just means that I basically want to have like 2 main guitars going through and then them just to really be inside of everything, you know? Like I'm listening to all the other stuff going on in the track. And man, if you listen to the biggest songs on the radio and in streaming or whatever, like there's not usually 7 different guitar tracks. I might separate out the chorus rhythm parts to a different track, to different tracks, right? Like I might have a stereo left and right of just heavies. That's kind of rare. That's not super, it's not something that people are doing all the time these days. Like you don't really hear it. Sometimes you can tell that it's there, it's just tucked way back. So I want two parts that interact with each other, with the vocal, with everything else, and really make a lot of sense. Other people might want 5 or 6 guitar tracks. At that point, I think the quantity starts to work against the quality of your parts, you know. Then it becomes more about textures and layers and stuff. So the answer is, I don't really know. Like, I know when I think it's done. When there's so many melodies that are working together and playing off each other, that it's like, okay, I can't fit anything else, I'm definitely done. And then, you know, I'm giving the producer the option to mute a bunch of things too. Like, they might not keep any of it. Hopefully they keep some of it, but they might not keep like an entire track, you know. I don't like that. Or maybe that thing that you played on the chorus is, you know, your 5th guitar track. Maybe that's just the thing that lifts the 3rd chorus, so it doesn't happen in the first 2. So, you know, I err on the side of giving more options than I think they're going to need. I don't want them to have to come back and say, hey, this doesn't sound finished. But I also it's important to me that everything works together, you know. So anyway, yeah, check out that new course. I think you'll really like it. It's so cheap, so cheap. It's on sale for the first week only, so that's probably a few more days by the time I put this video out. And yeah, thanks y'all. I'll see you later.